How about most pressure on this Jays team to perform? Who would you give that title to?
John Schneider.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, if they don't do anything in the playoffs,
it's on him.
He's gone. He's the manager.
But how is that all on him?
You can't get rid of all the players on the team that haven't performed this year, but you can certainly get rid of a
But
manager.
he can't grab Vladdy's bat and hit the ball for him.
It doesn't matter. He's the scapegoat. It's sports. They're not going to get rid of Vladdy, right? Vladdy puts butts in the seats. They're not going to get rid of him. They'll get rid of Schneider before they get rid of anybody else.
So more pressure on the team to perform for John Schneider.
No, it's pressure.
Right? Because you're saying if they underperform, then he's the one who's going to get the axe. I get what you're saying. I'm just trying to fight it. I'm almost with you.
Yeah,
I'm almost with you.
I think, look, if they lose, regardless in this series, I think, whether it's 2 games or 3 games, I think John Schneider's done. They have to get past the wild card round for him to keep his job, I think. Because this team, as these guys get older and you lose their level of controlment through contractually, and Vlad gets older and Bo gets older, the window gets shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter. You got to get somebody who's going to maximize the amount of chance they have to win a World Series, because that should be the expectations for this club.
Sean, who's the most pressure on?
I don't hate that answer. I'm not a big Schneider guy, and I see where Justin's coming from, and I agree that he's one of the most people who should feel the most pressure, just because of there is somebody behind him lurking in the shadows that could overtake him and become the manager. I'm not 100% sure that would happen, but I mean, it would be something that would definitely be looked at. For me, it's got to be Vladdy. For a few reasons. I think, again, he's got a contract coming up soon, and was the face of this team. And he still is, I think, right? But similar to somebody lurking in the shadows, like Bo Bichette was very impressive this year, has been very impressive for the past few years. And you know what I mean? And Bo might become the face of this team.
I think you're seeing that transition right now.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think it's it's there yet. I still think the media, I still think a lot of the fans know Vladdy because, again, like you said earlier, the long ball. People dig the long ball, and that's what Vladdy was known for, right? But this year he didn't hit the long ball as much. He probably didn't meet his own expectations or the expectations that were put on him by other people, whereas Bo met those expectations. He missed a bunch of games, and he still met the expectations that were put on his shoulders. So it's to me, it's got to be Vladdy, because you see what he's capable of. You see how hard he can hit that ball, but like when he's struggling and when he's forcing it and swinging at pitches that are 2 feet outside the zone, like I've talked about earlier, like just not even close. You've seen the frustration of the past couple of weeks, snapping bats, shaking his head. I think that is just a lot of pressure, and there's been a lot of pressure on him this year, and I think he's feeling it, and it shows. And I think that carries over to the playoffs. I think he's got a lot of pressure on and weight on his shoulders, and it's up to him to, show out and have a good series, because, I mean, he's one of the most important pieces in that lineup. And if he's going and if he can, produce, that's huge for the Jays.
I'm going to go with the starting pitching, because
you said who? Yeah,
I know
one person.
I'm going to say this. The starting pitching,
You
whether
pick
that's Gausman, Barrios, Bassett,
I think
Kikuchi, because listen, the offense hasn't been there. Who's kept them in games all season long?
Yeah.
The starting pitching. And if the starting pitching can't go deep in any of these games, you got to rely on a bullpen. And the bullpen's been decent, but there's been some issues. Look at Trevor Richards. I go back to the beginning of August. His ERA is over 11. Look at Romano. He's blowing saves like crazy. He may not even be the closer anymore. We saw Jordan Hicks come in, I'm saying, for one game. So Schneider can clearly see what we're seeing. And I think the starting pitching especially, has to do everything they possibly can to go at least 5, 6, maybe even 7 innings into these games to give their hitting a chance. Because the hitting they're not consistent throughout the entire game. They go through spurts, through games. It's been like that the entire season. So imagine if Gausman gets shelled in the first 3 innings, and now you got to rely on that bullpen and the bats to get back into the game, the Jays are in a horrible spot.
Yeah, I mean, you got to just deploy your bullpen properly, and that's where the pressure on John Schneider is that Justin's talking about. You have to use your higher leverage guys if that situation occurs, because, yeah, I agree with you. It's tough. You would want to put somebody like Trevor Richards out there who can eat multiple innings, but if you're only down, say, 5, you know what I mean? That's a lot of runs, but it's not like after 3 or 4 innings. That's not insurmountable, especially for a Jays lineup that can hit very well. So, I agree. The starting pitching. I mean, they're always under a lot of pressure. And yeah, the game one starter, Kevin Gausman, who I think should be the game one starter. Yeah, he'll be feeling the pressure, but that's why you get paid that kind of money. And he's proven, at least so far, that he's very capable of producing. And
it's almost like these starters don't deserve that type of pressure, but they have to take it because of the way the bats have been. Unfortunately,
I mean, everybody on. I mean, you just
the pressure is everywhere. I mean, we're trying to pick spots here.
Yeah,
it's everywhere. It's the entire team,
and that's
the pitching
where,
staff to the coaching staff.
And as we've seen, you see like certain players thrive under it. Some players don't, right? I mean, that's why, George Springer, we call him Mr. September, Mr. October.
Don't disrespect Reggie Jackson like that.
Sorry.
Don't disrespect Reggie Jackson.
You big Reggie Jackson guy?
Yeah, man, he won championships.
Nice.
Yeah.
So is George Springer.
Won one. How many did Reggie Jackson win?
You tell me.
I think he won like 3.
You think?
I think so, yeah.
Or you know?
I mean, he's in Monument Park with the Yankees. He must have won more
I
than...
thought you were a big Reggie Jackson guy. You should know all his numbers.
All I know is that he played for the Athletics and the Yankees back in the 70s.
Okay. All right, let's
too,
wrap it up with some predictions. Jays get through?
No. Twins in 3.
Oh, Shawnee boy. I just say it.
No. I just, we come on here, I give my honest opinion, and you guys are like, oh God, here he goes.
No, I'm not.
Kiss of death on the way.
No. Give it.
No,
From your heart.
Again,
Judgment-free zone.
I have not wavered too much on this Blue Jays team throughout the year. I've been high on this team. I have to go with the Jays here. I say the Jays sweep.
Oh.
And again, it won't be easy. I'm not saying they're going to come out and rout the Twins. I expect low-scoring games.
Mm-hmm.
Again, you rely on that defense. You rely on that pitching. I think the Blue Jays batting order is better. I think so. That's where I'm leaning, man. It's going to be tight, but I got to go with the Blue Jays.
I think the Twins win one, but I'm going Jays as well. Jays
At
win the
least we're all
series 2-1.
Plan the parade route.
I do have Houston winning the World Series. I will say that.
Plan the parade.
Is
But I
Kevin
do see the
Kiermaier
Jays
going to be
getting
the
there.
Grand Marshal, Captain Canada?
No, you know, I said this to Sean maybe last week or the week before that. Most important player for the Jays in the playoffs will be
I honestly don't remember.
Brandon Belt.
Oh, you did say that.
Who's back?
Experience.
Who's back?
Experience.
Finished, end of the season with the 3 shots in like 4 games.
And he's been
3 shots.
Home runs.
He's got their highest OPS. He's been their most consistent hitter all season long, and a lot of people shit on him.
You get a key lefty. Listen, if his back can hold up, he looks pretty healthy. He's gonna be pretty important to this batting lineup.
We'll see what happens.